Oh man, we are up, we are live. Man, family, give you a couple of seconds. The black signal just went out.
Mr. Diddy, Mr. Diddy, Mr. Diddy.
Hey, Clay, turn this light on right here. Alright, family, let me welcome you to the congregation of the mighty. This is Gye-Nyame Journey Media. Anime, down here, I ain't gonna tell you again. Pull it up. That's right, girls, get it out. This is a Heart of a Simba production. Of course, you know that this is tribal quotes at this time. We strive to blow up your old paradigm. I don't know what's going on with YouTube, with Facebook, but we ain't gonna, y'all ain't gonna pull that shit on me. Nope. Yep, there we go. So Facebook, I apologize. The signal dropped for a second. They trying to clean up the signal. But hey, we here, we are live. We are going to start our tribal quotes. We're going to run through it because, family, I know some of you disappointed because I didn't do tribal. I didn't do folk tales for grown folks. But y'all gotta understand, Brother Hatim's getting older, and I'm getting tired, and somebody's on the line. Brother Anubis, welcome, brother. How are you doing? It's good to see you in the house. I'm waiting for some of the other family members to join us. As y'all see, I'm still on my bee pollen. I feel a little something coming on, so I'm gonna pour a little bit of this in this coffee that I'm drinking so that I can make sure I'm staying up. I have figured out that if I'm gonna do these night shows, like I've been doing for years, I got to kind of beef myself up. So I went out and got me some coffee. But first, family, before we even get into it, let me do my little discussion before we move on. So I've been thinking, and y'all know that's what I do. Y'all, you know I am a hip hop philosopher. Yes, that's right. I've been educated by the streets and by my elders. I have had the pleasure of sitting at the feet of some very wise individuals. I have had the blessing of being around some very radical individuals. I have had the blessing of sitting and learning from different cultures. And I want to talk with you about crack the code real quick. Cracking the code. Feelings as messengers. Like I said, I want to bring Elder Wakesa back and do a whole weekend retreat. We are talking about these feelings as messengers because it is a very, very powerful tool that I believe that we need in our community. I ain't gonna say all communities. I'm talking about as far as Gye-Nyame, talking about as far as Tawi, I'm talking about as far as all of the shit going on right here, right now in my city. We need to understand feelings as messengers, as a group. Now, let me give you what dropped this on my mind. I run into a lot of our family members that are angry or believe that they are angry at what's going on. They're angry. They don't know where to focus their anger because they have not done or they don't know the question to ask. But one last year, not this year, but last year when we brought Elder Wakesa back to do a training for us, he was going through an issue and he used a personal example. I'm going to go into his business because that's not our business. That's his business. But the lesson that he gave me, lesson that he sat there and discussed with me and one of my brothers was very simple. He said, brother, when we dealing with anger and we think we mad, we got to deal with the other stuff first. And I'm like, what you mean? He said those softer emotions, because the anger as men is what we automatically jump off into. The anger as a people may be what we jump right off into because we are experiencing other emotions, but we have not been able to label them. So in the movement, in Gye-Nyame, what I have noticed is that I get a lot of people that feel mad, but they can't identify where they have been violated. They don't want to deal with where they've been violated. See, because they have not really dealt with the underlying emotions. And this for me as well. I have not dealt with the underlying emotions. I'm dealing with them now. But
This call is being recorded.
Let me go and walk you through my process. So first, I had to deal, I'm still dealing with my sadness. Right? Now, when we look at the sad piece, on the circle, sad in the black, I'm going to bring it close to the screen so that you see it. Sad deals with loss. The question is, what have you lost? And I had to deal with my loss. I had to analyze my life and look at the losses that I have just walked right by. And because we have not dealt with a lot of these emotions, because we have not done the wisdom mining, because we have not done the self mining, you know what I'm saying, in order to get to this, we often think that a lot of the issues that we are dealing with come at the mad angle. But we can't even deal with the mad angle because we're still stuck on sad. What is the loss? You know what I'm saying? What is the loss? And we have to identify that. And as a group, we have not identified what our losses are, or we don't agree on what the losses are. And what start to happen when a person don't deal properly with the loss? Right? You know what I'm saying? We become stalkers. We become, we get caught in alternate realities. Right? Because we're trying to hang on to something that is no longer there. And many of us are still in the loss phase. And because we have not dealt with our personal losses, you know what I'm saying? Because we have not even asked the question, we eventually, what's up? Somebody else is on the line. Somebody on the line. We eventually, because I'm going to bring people on in a second, but give me a second. We eventually start warping reality. We start, in a sense, giving away our power and start pursuing illusions. Illusions of inclusion, illusions of wealth, illusions of happiness with a new person, even though I haven't dealt with my initial loss. And as a group, we pursue the same things. We don't really deal with the losses, and because we don't deal with the losses, we give up our power. And then we move to, rather than moving to the mad now, let's move to the scared. With the scared, the question is, what is the danger? What's the danger? What's the dangers out here? We haven't identified the dangers, maybe as individuals, nor as a group. We haven't actually looked at it and been like, damn, there is danger. Oh, fuck the danger. So what we do is we cover it up with mad. Cover it up with mad. Why? Because with mad, we believe that we are powerful. We are powerful. You know what I'm saying? When in fact, we're chasing a dream. So what starts to happen is, because we're not really able to deal with the other two emotions, the sad and the scared, we start dealing with things in an angry fashion. We become mad. We become very rebellious. We become very bitter as individuals and groups. And we don't learn how, or take the time to ask the question, how we've been violated, and set up the parameters, or set up, as Elder Wake said, set the limits and reestablish our boundaries. And as a people and as individuals, many of us, because we haven't dealt with the other underlying stuff, we have not been able to establish the boundaries for who we are. We have not established the boundaries for the personal territory that we have. So we allow anybody to just come and play in our yard. We give passes. We give help because we have not learned to establish our boundaries, because we have not dealt with the fact of how we've been violated. Now, I'm going to this because I'm seeing a lot of people get caught up in these illusions. Illusions. And we're chasing illusions rather than dealing with where we are, when we are. We dealing with other shit. I heard a brother talking to a dude, and this is what brought this on. I heard a brother talking to a dude that had no understanding of our struggle. I've been listening to this guy, and I just laugh, but I be like, damn, it's black people out here like this. Right? Those of you that's been listening to Gye-Nyame Journey, you know who I'm talking about. Right? Those who don't, you'll find him one day. Well, the brother was making some good points, but then he moved to, we built pyramids on Mars. Now, If you believe that, I have no problem with that. But the issue that we have to deal with is where we are and when we are. Let's deal with the pyramids. We deal with the pyramids in Egypt. We deal with the pyramids in South and Central America. We could deal with the mounds here and shit. But now you're moving it off into a point of utter impossibility to prove. You can't prove that. Right? And you're trying to get somebody on your side. You're trying to get somebody, you're trying to convince somebody or something, and you jump to, hey, we built there's pyramids on Mars, and we built the pyramids there, and we came here. Nigga. My God. I'm looking at that, and I'm saying, damn, could this be because we haven't really dealt with the underlying emotions? And a lot of us, we pretend, right? We mad, when in fact, we're sad and we're scared. Many of us don't even want to deal. We don't want to even unpack the losses that we had in our life. We don't even want to deal with some of the losses that we have in our personal life right now because of the losses that was passed down to us from our ancestors. And we don't want to even deal with that shit. So we start making up other shit that we belong to in order to take the place of the loss that these ancestors represent in us and with us. We haven't dealt with it. And we haven't dealt with the scared because we don't want to identify the danger. We don't want to talk about the true danger of what we're feeling on a daily basis. It fucks me up that a motherfucker could, or a fatherfucker could walk into a black man's house, regardless of where he was from, and gun this motherfucker down and walk out on bail. She walked into the wrong house and she shot this brother down. All of y'all know the story. We don't have to rehash it on Gye-Nyame Journey because there's more than enough news out there to talk about this. But now, not only do I have to worry about driving at night or driving during the daytime, not only do I have to worry about possibly going to the store and purchasing a tobacco product, not only do I have to worry about a motherfucker mistaking my phone for a gun because it is pretty big, now I got to worry about a motherfucker walking into my house, being able to shoot me and get off scot-free. Danger. And we don't deal with that shit. We get straight to the man. Rather than having our people process where they are and what they're feeling and helping them work through the feelings, because really our initiation process need to be dealing with this. It's cool for us to deal with the history, but we need to get and start unwrapping this emotional baggage that we have been carrying from generation to generation. And because we're not dealing with it, right? Some of us get caught up in fuckery that we don't even understand. We got shit happening in some of our personal families that is just totally heinous. Totally heinous. Got some good shit going on too, don't get me wrong. But we need to be able to, when people come to us, as Gye-Nyame, as those of us on the journey, we need to be able to help them process truly what they are feeling. So we have to make it an obligation to learn the emotional language so that we can start really dealing with it. We got to make it a priority to bring this elder up here so that we could get this training. Sister Cynthia say, we are justified in being mad about being fearful though. Yeah, we are justified, but if we don't deal with the underlying fear, the anger will be misdirected. See, because understand this. On this circle, and you asked for it, and it's my fault you don't have it, sister. I have to get one to you. I have an extra copy at the school. I have to get this to you. But I also have to stress to you that it's important that we bring the brother who created this process here so that we could go on and have the whole training. I give you the bits and pieces that I understand. I want to bring a master of it down. I ain't get no money off of this. But I'm looking at it and I'm like, damn, listen, after working with some of the kids and doing some of the shit that I did today and finding out where my kids are, I can't look at the kids and be like, what's wrong with the children? It ain't the children. They're carrying their parents' baggage. So how the hell can I expect them to learn? Oh, okay, cool. I'm about to, cause you are the second person that said something about that, Ambrosia. I'm gonna put that together. But the piece that I'm saying is you're right. But if you don't deal with the underlying feelings, because the mad is easy for us to deal with. But if we are dealing with fear or being scared with anger, it causes a loop that we get caught in. We do something to address the problem with anger, when in fact it's actually fear. And because we don't recognize it, we do something in anger that causes us to fall right back to the fear. And then we do something because we still ain't diagnosed the initial fear. Now we got another fear. We deal with that in anger, which causes a feedback loop that keeps us trapped. Now, what I do is with my kids, I circle peaceful, powerful, and joyful, because this is the natural state that we are supposed to be in, and these feelings acts as messengers to help bring us back into peace, power, and joy. But if we are caught on a feedback loop, we are constantly outside of our circle of peace, power, and joy. And in order for us to move to the next level of the game, we have to move back into peace, power, and joy. And that don't mean being docile. And that don't mean allowing somebody to disrespect you. That don't mean some of the shit that some of these people are out here talking about. We become so spiritual that nothing bothers us on earth. You already know the Gye-Nyame philosophy. We are 5 parts. It's 5 parts of us that operate as one. 5 parts, none higher than the other. All of them are important. Intuition, mental, emotional, spiritual, and the body. All of them work as one, as our tool to punch life in the face and to punch oppression in the face if we need to do that as well, which we will. Sister, I inboxed you with a question about the gallon I got before, but we can discuss that later on. Okay. Uh-oh. How long ago did you inbox me? Uh-oh. But sister, listen, if you want to start making your own, we're going to work that out. We need to talk. All right, I got you. Let's see who's on the line. Somebody has joined me on the line. I done ran my mouth, so now it's time for me to turn over the mic and get into our discussion. Who do I have? We got Brother Shaka on the line. What's going on, my brother?
My brother. All is well, man.
But
all is well.
So, all right, we about to get into these folk tales. I'm about to find Sister Cynthia's, because now she got me. I'm sitting up here like, I got to find out what she did. Was it my personal, or was it the Gye-Nyame journey? I'll find it. All right, cool. Brother Shaka. So we.
Hey, hi Tim.
Go ahead.
Did you get an opportunity? Check out that polygonum multiflorum.
You mean try it out?
No, did you look at?
I looked at what you put up. Yeah. You been experimenting with it?
Oh man, have I?
Uh-oh.
Have I?
What's going on? What's going on now? So you about to do some poly June? What's going on?
Oh, it's ready to pull from the Scobie right now.
Ah.
So, and now let me tell you something, man. Now,
so wait, what did you do? What did you do for the caffeine? Because as you brought up to me, the caffeine is turned into it ain't polyphenols, it's antioxidants, right? So what do you?
So what I do? Now understand that after my first stint in studying these herbs, I realized that a majority of these are non-caffeinated.
Right.
And so what I have to do is make sure that I maintain Now I might see this is a thing, man. When you're dealing with new herbs, some of the stuff might be very, very potent, but I still have to maintain some type of ratio to make sure that 25% of the tea that I use has some type of caffeine.
Right.
So I still use the special gunpowder. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay.
I got two, but dig this. I brewed some tea with all the different herbs in it, including your dandelion root, including some lotus seed,
right.
including
jasmine. You had jasmine flowers.
Root. And lo and behold, man, like I said, this was like Saturday that I started drinking the tea while I was brewing. And once again, I see some activities and some ratio on my scalp. So I had to go back and research it again. Come to find out, the primary things that, for short, they call it PMT, for Polygonum multiflorum sun. All right,
mm-hmm.
and it primarily treats liver injury, cancer, diabetes, alopecia. What's arteriosclerosis?
Arteriosclerosis?
Yeah.
Now I might be wrong, but it's got something to do with the arteries, maybe causing heart problems.
Okay. That all makes perfect sense. Neurodegenerative diseases as well. So, when you get into the mental illnesses, but dig it, and going down the list, and here's a piece where, of course, you got the Asian influence on or the history of these herbs, and then you got the Africans. And I'm starting to see the origins of all of these, and starting to even from a martial arts perspective be able to identify with what they're calling. Now they say that this herb is a storehouse for yin energy or essence, which is also called jing. It's good for the reproduction, increases libido, mildly sedate nervous system, nurtures ovaries, increases sperm count, purifies the blood, liver, and kidney, and contains antioxidants that increase SOD, SOD, superoxide mutate. This mutates. And so, as I'm going through all of, it's a whole different world of what's it. And like I said, even in just a tea form, I've been able to feel a lot of what it's saying, and especially, like I said, looking at my complexion and looking at and the one thing that they call it, they call it Mr. Black Hair, because there's a kind of a legend of the man who founded or discovered this root, and he was older, graying.
I heard about this.
Yeah,
it go by other names too. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Hoshu. Yeah. Is another name for it.
Right. Yeah. I read about that.
Yeah. So they said that this man not only did his hair start getting thicker, but it got black again. And so it naturally restores the pigment to hair. And also, in my studies, it says it's a producer of melanin.
Uh-oh. All right, now check this out. I got a sister with a question that both of us deal with. I found Sister Cynthia's question. She sent it on a Black Signal. And like I said, if y'all don't, sometime I don't get it unless it's going back and forth. And if I don't answer you on the Black Signal right away, hit me up. so that I could see it, because I'll be running during the day, and now I'm not sitting down anymore. I'm running through from class to class, so I'm doing we got a big school. Those that's been in school, I'm doing every classroom once a week, so that I could start meeting and dealing with some of the young people from a different perspective, rather than just meeting them on disciplinary actions. But she says, this Sister Cynthia, and thank you for the question, Sister Cynthia, and we're going to get right into the Proverbs. Shouts out to Miss Yolanda. Shouts out to S. Freedom. Shouts out to Brother Anubis, who happened to be in the chat, and I was just wondering about you, Brother Anubis. All right, greetings. What do I do with the stuff floating in the bottom of my ambrosia? Drink the little floaters? Question? All right. So
Well,
go ahead. You gonna break it down, or you want me? Well, you get hit it, then I hit it. Let's go.
okay, yeah. So I'll let you get to the bulk of it, but my observation, especially over the course of these past few weeks, is that, you know, when everybody has their own style, and everybody has their own little ways that they go about their brewing ritual, I imagine is what you call it. And so if you're like me and you're typically using loose tea, a lot of times you might have a different type of sediment in the at the bottom if the tea is actually not strained out. All right. But beyond that, I don't strain anything from my June. I don't strain anything. If there is SCOBY matter that makes it into the bottle, so be it. You know, that SCOBY matter is, that mother is where a lot of the healing is. So one of the unique things that I do, I don't know how Hatim does it, but I give every person an opportunity to have that mother in there to do as they wish, because if they decide to nurture it and to grow their own mother, that's probiotics for life if you take care of it. So
you hear that, Sister Cynthia?
Yeah.
Those little floaters at the bottom are small scobies, and if you let them sit, it will form your own SCOBY so that you can start brewing your own drink. But yes, you can drink it, because that is the mother. And the mother is where all of the nutrition comes from and where the transformation happens. Now, Brother Shaka was talking about the effects of a tea that he is using, that he notices from just drinking the straight tea. What we're offering people is the fermented piece of this. This is like turning gold into platinum. This is the what is that science that you when you
alchemy.
turn alchemy. That's the alchemy. That fermentation is natural alchemy. So I can only imagine what effects Brother Shaka will have after he starts sipping on this product that he has come up with prior to even fermenting. He drinking it without fermenting it now. But once you ferment it, fermenting makes stuff more bioavailable, because the yeast and the bacteria and all of the other microorganisms that are involved in that mother pre-digest it and release, get rid of what you don't need, and make it easier for your body to break open the cells or whatever it's doing and get the nutrition. I won't say I'm an expert on how that works, but the fermenting process makes things more bioavailable, which means it becomes healthier for you. This is why people have been drinking apple cider vinegar for a very long time. And family, what we got is a step above apple cider vinegar, and we had the process that we
a few steps.
Oh, you said two steps.
A few steps.
Above that.
I said a few steps.
A few steps.
Oh yeah, and let me throw this in the mix as well. Some of the candidates that I have brewing here, when they originally started brewing, they would use one of those tea things with the spigot on the side. I have since moved away from that. I find that to be, more opportunity for contaminants.
You ain't get the cheese?
And what happens is that they get into the routine of tasting their June from the side spigot. What happens with that, Miss Cynthia, is that that stuff at the bottom, that's essential to your mix. And if you're using that spigot, you're not getting that, because when you taste, it's important that you mix that stuff so that when you pour into your cup, you get an even even beverage. Because once you go,
No, I'm saying I'm agreeing with you.
Oh yeah, because if you don't, if you were to bottle out of that spigot, you will have a very uneven batch. One bottle will taste one way, and one that has more of that sediment at the bottom is going to taste another way. One that you put too much in it, you might bottle it up, and then when you pop the cork or whatever, it might go all over the place.
Right.
And it's all of those can that stuff at the bottom is definitely a key factor in all of those different results.
It's the sediment, it's the yeast. All that was produced since I bought it to you. That's been going on when I brought that to you. So that is yeast at the bottom right there. Now, that what causes the flavor to change, because what the yeast are doing, they're getting fat and they're digesting all of those sugars that are in there, and they digesting that caffeine, or the bacteria is getting the caffeine. So you have the yeast filling up down there. So it's incredible. It's incredible. But hey, we're about to get into these proverbs. Lady J just joined us, and right now what I'm doing is
I have something to say.
Hold on. Right now, I ain't gonna advertise them, but a restaurant, because we need sponsors here, Gye-Nyame. But a restaurant is doing that Impossible Burger. Oh my God.
Man, we don't need no restaurants.
I'm just saying. This is the Impossible Burger, so I want y'all talking about he eating meat. Damn, it tastes like meat. But go ahead, Lady J.
Why don't y'all need? Y'all do need restaurants. Okay, so so did you see recently the data came out for the school districts?
Oh God!
For state tests, right? Report cards.
Yeah.
Okay, so the report cards come out, and we saw what the grades say, right?
Right.
But the reality of it is that we have to continue to look at, or begin to look at, the big picture, or what I would like to call. Hold on one second. Or what I would like to call the bigger picture, right? So these report cards come out, but they've also added all these components. They knew from day one that our schools could not contend, or would not contend or compete with some of these other schools. Why? Because they have historically been at disadvantage. Since the beginning at disadvantage, all being by design. So then you give us this report card and you begin to compare apples to oranges, right? Knowing that we do not have the resources, the components. So then you add components in to measure whether or not these schools are effective when given the money to buy the things that they need to provide that. You see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And so this new component, this value added, right? This value added. I've said it before, I'm a fan of air tests. I don't have a problem. I think that not only do they evaluate what the kids are learning, but the way they measure in these tests, they're also evaluating if these teachers are teaching. For so long, people that don't look like us, that are not vested, that have been in front of our students in our schools, getting raises every year, retiring, but yet they've never taught anything. And now you hold teachers accountable. Now you have to have a way to measure that, right? But I'm loving it. Anyway, so my school, after 7 years of getting straight F's, right? 7 years of getting straight F's, they reconstituted the school. They fired all of the teachers with the exception of 3. The principal went in and she was able to do things that she thought the school needed, right? These things that she did were things that were proven, that's been seen, and other people do it. It's the best practice. So things like uniform, right? Things like what we do when we have the spot, your town hall meetings, you bring these kids together, and things of that sort. So that year long, not focus on instruction, she got straight A's. She still got an overall F, right? Takes many years, but that's all the woman focused on. No instruction, no nothing. Only thing she's focusing on is changing culture and climate, right? Uniforms, no hall passes. You must have an escort. You meet just all of these things that she right. And so what happens is new report card comes out. They love promoting and saying what's going all wrong, but again, there's this new component that measures what's going right. And what these kids that are in this inner city, right? Lots of ESL students who don't speak very good English. You know what I'm saying? They're learning English. They're progressing. Competing with a gifted school where you select your students. They have to pass a test, right? A gifted school. Another school where most of it's more of in a better neighborhood, so most of those parents have college educations. In fact, that's a school where a lot of teachers send their children, right? It's on the outskirts, right? And then you have another school that has historically done well because of its location near OSU campus, right? But now you have our school has went 7 years with straight F's, was one of 4 schools that had to be reconstituted. All of these things, and they get a C this time overall. They still got F's all the time. They had A's and value-added B, but we got a C this year overall. All that to say that we have to go back to the basics. We have to go back to the basics. And I want to say, I've said it before, I know my kids can pass these tests. That's why I love the AIR test, because it measures your strategic thinking. Our children are strategic in everything they do. So when you put a test in front of them where all they have to do is manipulate the information that's being given to them, they should do well. These tests were designed for our kids to do well in my eyes, the more and more I study them. So I just want to get a shout out to what's good in the hood, basically. What's good in the hood. When given the opportunity, when given the money, when given the resources, we will. And when given like I said, the education field is always hiring. I work at a school where at least half the staff looks like me, right? At least half. Lots of black men, and that was by design. The woman handpicked everybody that works for her. You see what I'm saying? Am I allowed to say that? Yeah, it's by design. My principal looks like me. My assistant principal looks like me. A lot of people in my building looks like me. Most of the children look like me.
We gotta break that up. That's too much. Too black, too strong. Goddamn it! We gotta put some cream in that coffee. Gotta put some cream in it.
I'm here saying, I said half.
That's still too much. Goddamn it! That's too much. Darkness.
So I gotta say this last piece. We're discussing. We read like this entire book, right? We read books together as a school, and so the lady, again, the instructional coach, she looks like me. She wants to read the book Ghost Boy, right? So we get these people together. In the room is going to be about the gross majority of the people don't look like me. So she's trying to sell them on why our students should read this book called Ghost Boy. Are you familiar with Ghost Boy?
Who? Me? No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. No, sir. Okay, so it's about this boy, 10, 12-year-old boy who gets shot, walks out of his house, gets shot by the police. The police, when they're telling the story, he looked angry. He looked like he was 20 years old. He looked threatening. the boy dies, and the ghost of the boy is telling the story, and he meets Emmett Till, he meets Trayvon Martin, right? So they want the entire school to read this book. You hear me? And this woman has to tell we're in the meeting, the book club meeting, where most of the people don't look like me, and we're talking about why we're about to read this book. Imagine that conversation. Imagine that conversation. But at the end of the day, guess what book we're going to read as a school?
Harry Potter.
Not Harry Potter. Won't be happening. We're going to read Ghost Boy, and the activities that we will have that our students will do will be very. It's going to be awesome. But what's more important, like I told my white counterparts, that's going to happen is that our kids are going to see you with empathy. Our kids are going to see you passionate and outraged about something that you should be outraged about because you're an American. That was my conversation to them as I watched with their faces and as they recommended other books that they had not even read, right? This is what's going to happen. Do you want that for yourself? Because then they'll behave better for you. Once they know you care, they're going to behave better for you. And imagine what happens after that.
Well,
so there's some great things that's going on. Like I said, we are hiring always. It only took me a day and a half to get a contract with them because
hey.
I'm just saying.
Hey, Lady J, I might listen. We might have to have a conversation then. All right, because we listen. I know. One time I was supposed to, and then
here we go.
I'm saying,
it's something dope.
Let me put on the sad music. Go ahead. I'm about to put on the sad music because he's about to tell you a long sad story. But go ahead. Wait.
And
hold on.
This is one thing that I
gotta
always
put on the
know
fuckery alarm. Fuckery alert.
This is most important, and I'm sorry. But one thing I do want to say is we're not the only ones doing it. That's the story that's untold.
Hey, Lady J, can I say something?
Yes.
Now, about 6 months ago, I sat and I watched a segment of this 7-day panel on, or it was a conference on education. And the guest speaker for the whole thing was the Dalai Lama. And the program that he's backing makes perfect sense. All the stuff that we're talking about in terms of, this Common Core, this Western education system and the cultural biasness or whatnot, he hit on all of that. And the piece is that when you got somebody like the Dalai Lama leading the charge on the exact same issues that we dealing with, why are we not aligned with it? That's just the question that I have. Well, I don't think it's going to be answered tonight.
I can tell you why. Matter of fact, I can't tell you why, but I can tell you that I find it to be disheartening that we don't seek out as a people. And I'm just not talking about my people, but as a people, we don't seek out our allies. We don't seek out people. And so what I
disagree.
I've witnessed this. As a matter of fact, I got into an argument one time because
you about to get an argument right now.
They were telling some white woman, like, basically when things happen, some black people say things like, we don't need you to help us. We don't need you to do this. We don't need you, or we don't want you. Go do this and go do that. But my thing is, if you are a human and you are not outraged, deeply perplexed, bothered, angered by this structure about things is as far as race-based, like if you can get outraged about somebody being murdered without any weapon by the police, this is what this country is built off of: protecting us from the government, protecting us from the British Army, from coming into our houses and violating our rights. How can anyone not be bothered by this? How can anybody not be bothered by this? Hold
on. Somebody else is on the line, and Let's see who is it. Who this on the line? Who this?
Sister Navita.
All right, Sister Navita. Hold on.
Navita.
Because wait, Sister Navita is calling in. She's calling in to check me. All right, family, we got a movie night coming up on Kuumba, October 6th. Whoever don't have to do push-ups, y'all can say what Kuumba is. October 6th at 3 p.m. Movie night. The movie that we will be watching and discussing is called Dark Girls. It's a film by Bill Duke. We will have free prizes. We will have a full concession stand. It's a $5 fee. If you're 17 and under, you get in free. Now, fee and free sound alike, so let me say that in a different way. It's $5 to get in. Young people 17 and under get in for no cost. All right? So it will be at the Millennium Community School, 3500 Refugee Road, and this is a Gye-Nyame Journey Media production. Hot damn.
You know you've been fucked up, right?
Hot damn.
Hey.
Now, we raising funds because we're trying to buy a 15, well, we ain't going to try. We're about to get a 15-passenger van. Now, what the goal with
we need to invite some white people then.
Hold on. The goal, okay. The goal with the 15-passenger van is to put a skin on it, so we got Gye-Nyame Journey driving all over. He said, invite. Oh, Navita, I see the mistake.
Now, we can raise money like we did for the Malcolm X Festival. We can raise money for the band.
Oh yeah. Oh, we about to. Oh, that's about to happen. But hey, I found.
Hey, we gonna have some bonbons there.
Some
and some fried mayonnaise balls. We need some white people. All right, so we got to bring out what they.
Who is that saying
that?
Who is that saying that we need white people?
Shaka saying.
That Shaka started some shit.
That's too much.
But hey, I am taming myself, and right now I'm going through my emotional chart because I'm not going to jump on Lady J about this not seeking out our allies.
Can I say one real on the serious side?
Or when let me say this, maybe what I should have said is when our allies seek us out, or we see that we have a common enemy. We have a common enemy, and we could fight, and even if you fought on a different plane, if you were as long as we still fighting the same enemy, like, come on now, how else are we supposed to bring down this system?
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm starting to wonder sometime with some of the actions that I'm seeing out here, the lack of participating in some of the protests, the lack of speaking out on our behalf. I'm starting to see that a lot of people that we have been seeking out, a lot of people that have been helping or supposedly helping us and using this banner, people of color, have not been stepping up for us. I don't think that it's a matter. Wait, hold on, time out. I'm just saying, I don't think it's a matter of us not reaching out to our allies and not being there for our allies, because really everybody outside of Native American that's here is here on our backs. God damn it. But hold on, one more thing, Sister Navita. If you look at the bottom of the flyer, it says you have to change that. It has to say Gye-Nyame unless you change something.
No, I haven't changed. It doesn't say Gye-Nyame.
No, it says a G Journey. So go on, hit me up. All right, but yo,
hey, I gotta say this right quick.
Well, make it quick, man, because we ain't hit a proverb. It's 10 o'clock.
I know. Tell you. So while we on this emotional, what you call it, chart, emotional competency,
feeling as messengers, breaking the crack in the code.
Okay, so check this out. Piece is that we have to hold ourselves accountable for the energies that we put out, and we have to put ourselves in the other people's shoes when we talking to Christians about Christianity, when we talking to people who we are. I mean, when we looking at a people and we saying you sleep, we have to identify with what emotion that brings and how they're going to respond to us. And that's what I'm feeling, is that a lot of times that's what it is that on one level, it's that nervousness of of not knowing how to support. And then when you become a part of the conversation, well, you are put into this box before you even get an opportunity to genuinely assert yourself. So I'm just saying, just being devil's advocate, a lot of times our energy, be it because it's militant or because we're so compassionate about something that they don't understand, we have to sometimes be a little bit more patient and have to understand that even though we have this common enemy, we still have to interface with each other so that we know each other as allies. So either that means that they learn our language or we learn theirs, but not necessarily so much of it being a protocol for them to learn ours, because we're the ones that's outnumbered.
Shaka, what language do you need to learn in order for, if there's injustice or if something happens to someone, that you too should be, that you're it's okay for you to be angry.
I'm looking at, but what he's saying is,
you don't need to speak no language. That's the same thing. I'm going to leave this alone, but I remember when this boy got killed down at this courthouse. There was a boy that got killed by the guard. When this news first dropped, we were ready to march. We were ready to fight. We was about to turn the city upside down. The minute that they said that this boy was white, it was crickets. Nobody else felt no kind of way. None of my people felt any kind of way that this boy, this kid, this baby, that they had already been talking about was dead when they found out he was white. So it goes both ways. I was still upset. It didn't matter. It was the principle.
Now hold on. Let's stop for a second. Wait. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Sister Navita, I'm going to let you go, but then after you get done, you got to go on and tell them why you chose the movie, so we get into these proverbs real quick. But go ahead.
Okay, just real quick, though, and I remember the incident with the young white boy, but the reason, for me, as in the words of Tariq Nasheed, is hold your own nut. Because our kids have been getting killed on a regular basis, and I don't see none of them coming out in droves like that for us, and I'm just not going to do that for them.
You don't see all the white people that be marching and standing against what and some people don't like. Some people don't. Now, one thing I don't see, I see a lot of them. I love protests because that's how you get the world to take notice. And I watch other countries even march on our behalf of what has happened with these young black men. I've watched.
But see, this is the thing about them. But see, I see the marching part, but to me, that whole marching part is a facade. Because all they're going to do is go out and march. I don't see them trying to go out and change no legislation.
Get out and get out and march,
people been marching for a long time, and kids are still getting killed. They marched in Black Street when Trayvon Martin was murdered, and they still are doing the same thing.
Sister Levita, tell me something. So the thing I'm talking about, the marching, is political participation. Whenever you get a mass of people, it makes other countries, other places take note. And then that's when your message really gets out internationally. That's what I like about
from those of the marching, what has changed?
It changed. Through the only change that has ever happened in this country came through political participation, and that's just one form of political participation. When you put that with other forms, that's where all change in this country has come from: political participation. Be it marching, boycotting,
or threats,
be it voting, anything where it's political participation. That's how things have gotten changed in this country.
Threats are
because you're missing. The only reason why, even like we go to the civil rights movement, it had nothing to do with them marching that made the civil rights movement change. Yeah, that was all about money.
You don't think?
And they wanted
no.
Yeah.
Hey, Hey, we're gonna have to do another show.
Let that stuff go. That president allowed that stuff to go down. It was when you start getting those not only newspaper where they're showing them buses getting put on fire and all those things that was going on in this country. When other people started taking notes, I feel like that's when that man stood up and said something. That's why I don't give a damn about JFK. That's why I don't give a damn about JFK. He didn't react because he saw what was going on. It wasn't until other places, until it really got out, until they started seeing their white brethren bleeding all over TV and in the newspapers because they too got beat. That's when they decided to do something. They let that shit go on and on and on and on and on before he stood up. And some black people held him like he's the next white Jesus. That's bullshit.
All right. Time out. Sister Navita, why you picked that movie?
Why I picked the movie?
Yeah. Dark Girls is the name of the movie.
Because we are in 2018, and this is still an issue in the black community. I've seen where on social media that people have been doing things like light skin parties and dark skin parties.
Nah, stop
all
playing.
These types of things. Light skin versus the dark skin, and so I want to address that, and especially I think it's detrimental to some of our young ladies, because I have been told by other dark skinned sisters how they had animosity towards light skinned girls. And because they were made to feel less than or not as pretty. And apparently it is an issue because you see a lot of dark-skinned women, in my opinion, that some of even the light-skinned ones do it, but you see a lot of like even in the continent of Africa now, you see a lot of them trying to lighten their skin up.
Shit, now,
whether it be with makeup or chemical. Or what have you? It's a thing now.
Well, hold on. Not just lighting their skin, use the chemicals. Let's look at some of these goddamn filters. Not even some of the filters. Let's look at all the goddamn filters.
Yeah.
All these filters.
Well, some of these women catfish themselves every single day. You don't look like that for real.
Do y'all know?
Go ahead.
Have you thought that there's lightning?
So perfect. Those freckles
we
right
want people
there.
to be black and be proud of that. I've seen people within my own family. I have one of my little cousins who I helped raise, and she was a brown-skinned girl. She is a brown-skinned girl, and she used to say things to me like, well, if I was light-skinned like my sister, I could get guys to do this, that, and the third for me. And
that shit's still going on in 2018.
Do you disagree, or you just feel bad that she feels that way?
No, I agree with her. She probably could have, because people are still stuck in this. It's better being light-skinned, but I don't think people understand what the mindset, which I put behind that, is saying that I'm going to treat you better because you are closer to white to me. That's what you're saying. And I think once that sits with you and you realize that's what you're saying, because some of your so-called, even your pro-black people do it. They do it.
I don't like how you stress
I like a
that.
red-bone girl. I can't help it.
I don't like how you stress that.
What you're really saying is because you're closer to white-looking to me, I'm willing to do this, that, and the third. So if you're willing to do that for somebody you think because they're closer to white, what are you going to do when you're around white folks?
She asked a question, y'all. Come on, some of you pro-black out there that want them light skins. What are you willing to do to get them? And what does that mean when you really approach the white man? What happened when Becky come at you? Huh? What's going to happen when Becky comes? The real thing. That sweet nectar. And she offer you that sweet nectar. What's going to happen when
you're in a situation and you have to pick a side? And your white supervisor is mistreating your black counterpart, but somewhere in your mind it's ingrained to you that that lighter is better. So where you gonna go?
Wait. That's gonna take us right into the first, right into these proverbs. A big tree attracts the woodman's axe. English proverb.
Say that again.
A big tree attracts the woodman's axe. That's the first one. Second one. Silence is the sleep that nourishes wisdom. 2. 3. The chicken is never declared innocent in a court of the hawks.
Mm.
I'm sorry, the ancestors just had to go on and speak on that one. All right, so Sister Navita, you was the last on the line. Pick 1, 2, or 3, and we're going to jump right into it so we can knock this out before 11 o'clock.
Okay, well, let's go with the last one you said.
God damn it. Okay. That's from
Say it
Ghana.
again.
The chicken is never declared innocent in a court of the hawks.
So, to me, that's just saying, it is bringing it into today, a topic today is when we're shuffling through the courtroom, our black brothers and sisters, we are never going to be found innocent in their eyes because the system is doing what it was designed to do.
And the system is designed to support hawks.
So just like the hogs, they're supposed to kill the chicken, the hog's supposed to kill the chicken, the system is supposed to incarcerate the black male or female. The system is supposed to supply that prison industrial complex.
Right. So it basically feeds. So the black man's in this proverb, not only, I want y'all to think about this. What this is saying is that not only are we similar to the chicken, but just like the chickens are food for the hawks, because, I want you to think about that. The insanity of it. They both birds. They related. The chicken and the hawk is related. Hell, they cousins. In a certain sense. Same species. You know what I'm saying? But one feeds off the other. And for the chicken, which is the prey, to think that he's going to ever get justice when he walks before the hawks is asinine. I'm sorry.
Right.
Who else? Somebody else. I know somebody else got something. Come on now.
I'm going to just say it like this. I'm a breast and thighs person, all right? I'm a breast and thighs man. Chicken is delicious. I don't know what y'all talking about, all right? First of all, when we look at the dynamics between the chicken and the hawk, understand that we're talking about a grounded fowl versus fowl that can fly, right?
Right.
So when you look at that whole dilemma of the species, it's like, man, those chickens down there just keep getting ate up. That's not a dilemma. That's just what we call the food chain, right?
Right.
And so when we look at the species of birds versus the culture of a people, well, the culture of the chicken is they're being raised in the slaughterhouse. They're being fed to get killed. It's the exact same thing that's happening here. Where does the hawk stand in the midst of all that genocide with? They don't stand nowhere because they fly. They headed down south right now. Where the chicken at?
Hawks don't fly south for the winter, shocker. But I get what you say. They stick it out during the winter and they hunt. You understand what I'm saying?
You saying that the chicken flies south too?
No, the chicken don't fly. The hawk don't fly south, man. They not migratory birds. They eat the ones.
I didn't know this.
Oh, I talked to a hawk yesterday, nigga. Well, how else do I know? Come on. Hawks don't fly north for the winter.
No bird flies north for the winter.
Okay, you
Not
know,
anymore, shit.
you know what I you know what I mean,
still be
man.
around, but nevertheless, it is. We have to decide who wants to be the chicken and who wants to be the fucking hog.
Or we have to accept where we are so that we can start dealing with the issue. See, because this is why.
Wait, time out. Sister Levita, you just put a whole different spin on it. Because Hatem said a chicken and a hawk, but you just brought me back down to Froghorn Leghorn with that little big head chicken hawk. You know what I'm talking about? The little bully. Yeah. It's like, you're a chicken and I'm a chicken hawk. That's a whole different dynamic right there.
Lord have mercy.
I want to be the hawk in this proverb.
Well,
I don't want to be the damn chicken.
I hear you. You want to be. This is why the chickens go to the hawk's court. Because they want to be equal with the hawk. But they are different species. Now, it don't matter whether you the chicken or you the hawk. Because the chicken still is getting down and doing what it's supposed to do. But Shaka brought up a good point. The goddamn chicken was domesticated to be eaten anyway. So either you're going to get eaten by the hawk or you're going to get eaten by the man. But what we have to understand is, once again, we got to deal with where we are. We want to be the hawk. We might be, and there's a whole nother story, and we can go into that later. But the piece is, one, you can't really deal with where you at until you face the reality of where you at. Right now, the system is feeding off of us. We were born, we was bred and raised to feed this motherfucker. We are the chicken. Right. And until we realize that and started, I hate to say it, a chicken revolution, goddammit. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like many of us is, really, because a lot of us is like, I'm a hawk in this proverb. But really, when it comes to life, we see these motherfuckers. We just got done talking about somebody picking off one of the chickens. I busted into your goddamn house and shot you. Now, this hawk is going to be taken into their courts to be found guilty for murdering a chicken when hawks are supposed to murder chickens. You can't expect.
Exactly.
You can't expect.
You can't expect that no justice.
Right. You know what I'm saying? No, what I'm saying is, it is justice for the hawk.
For the hawk.
For the hawk. That's what's dangerous about it, because we go in expecting to find justice, but there is justice. It's just for the hawk. It's not for us. Now, Sister Cynthia say, as long as the hawk think the chicken is guilty, the hawk can justify his murder of the chicken for his meal. And what's even deeper about that, Sister Cynthia, they don't have to find the goddamn chicken guilty. The chicken was born, as far as a hawk is concerned, the chicken was born to feed him. I have a right to feast on you. And I'm going to fight for that right. So what we have, for me, this is a wake up. This is a wake up and smell the coffee fucking proverb for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I'm like, yo, so let's move to the next one. Somebody hit me up online because Sister Cynthia, you wanted 3. So I'm going to give you the opportunity. Type in the number, sister. Come on. Somebody out there type in the number. We're going to wait for a second. If anybody else got something to say about the chicken and the hawk in the court, please do.
If you put spicy batter on a hawk, I bet you it tastes just like chicken. Only game.
Oh. The one thing we can say by a hawk is that a hawk will never find justice in the court of man. God damn it. You know what I'm saying? And you're right. You know what I'm saying? And the piece is though, the hawk wouldn't expect it. Why? Because the hawk understands that he is a hawk. And he understands that in the presence of others, he's not going to get it. And we got to understand that shit. And we got to understand it deeply enough so that we can start learning how to work. Because where is the chicken courts? God damn it. We need, you know what I'm saying? Where the black man courts and black woman courts? Where, you know what I'm saying? Where, because it's, but I'm going to stop because I don't want to start an argument. Sister Cynthia said, number 1, a big tree attracts the woodman's axe. Who want to go on that one? Somebody.
I want to go on that one.
Go ahead, sister. It's all yours.
Yeah, I am living this right now. So I had I worked many jobs, and I really love what I do, but I often find that I have issues with my administrators, right? And so I had chumped it up, and I said, it just must be a man thing, right? But recently I experienced it again, and it has led me to, in certain places I haven't experienced it, right? But I've experienced it like in the workplace. And so I remember back when I first started looking for a job, my dad used to say, Janelle, when you go fill out an application, make one mistake on the application, because you don't want the person looking at the application or the resume to think that that you can come in and take their job.
Damn.
He would tell me this all the time.
Wait, say that one again.
All the time.
Say that one more time for some of the young people out there listening, because that is some straight ancestral wisdom. Say what you just said.
Yes.
What's that instruction again?
The instruction is that when I go to fill out a job application, or when I submit my resume, I will make one mistake so that person that is reviewing it may not feel threatened and feel like I should come and take their job. And so me, just like young people do, I said, my father doesn't know what he's talking about. I want my stuff to be perfect. I want to do this. And it wasn't until recently that I really understood what he meant, right? I understood it. So when you get this shining, it's going to be, and you shine too bright, your boss or somebody that's over you that could be threatened. It could even be your coworker, right?
Yeah.
They'll come and they will blow your light out. Right? They'll come and they'll try to blow your light out. And the reason being is that, A, I would hate for you to outshine me, and B, I would hate for you to do my job, and even the thought that you might think that you could do it better, right? And maybe that person's not even thinking that. But that is what it's about. The more you shine, it's like you bring other people to your light, but also it does give that ammunition for someone, right? That may be threatened to come chop you down. It makes you a mark.
When I think of it, I think about Malcolm X, for example. He would be the tree, and they had to come and cut him down. He did not dull his light. He was going to say what he was have to say, and he was going to do what he had to do, and that made him a big tree. And unfortunately, when you do that, you are taking that chance that you're going to be cut down. You dig? That's how I look. That's one way I look.
Nelson Mandela wrote in his book when he said that when he chose to fight against apartheid, he said that he realized that he was going to spend his life fighting for people he would never see, and the people that he loved most would have to sacrifice him, right? He said he knew that from day one. So whenever he began on his trek, when he started, he knew it was something bigger than himself. And the same thing, he knew he was going to get chopped down too.
Now,
and he knew that his family, would reap that, and he was willing to for that to happen.
Who are you talking about?
Nelson Mandela wrote this in his autobiography.
Right. That kind of piqued my interest that you were talking about apartheid and you look at what Nelson Mandela dealt with in his lifetime, and you look at the one moment where the I apologize, I forget his name, Peter Norman, in one moment made a stand because of apartheid, and that was the whole commonality. The common enemy was apartheid from South Africa to Australia. So that's why he chose to make that stand. But the piece is that because he made that stand that one day, for the rest of his life, his own country turned their back on him forever. He died a broke man because of that. And when you look at it, is that a price that you're willing to pay for the things that you truly believe in?
See, but now,
Why not?
Well, let me say this. One of the things that we got to look at in this proverb is the nature of an oak tree. It says, a big tree attracts the wood's axe. We don't even say oak tree. A tree is just following its nature. So some of us, we're trying to hide our nature, but you can't do it. You're going to attract that axe. Now, this reminds me, because going back to Sister Lady J's piece, she said the lesson that her dad taught her is one of the lessons that stuck with me from the 48 Laws of Power. Now, gather around and listen. In the 48 Laws of Power, the very first law, they say, never outshine your master. I
remember that was an eye opener. I told you whenever I had, whatever, I told you I wish you had told me to read that book when I was in the midst. I may have moved the.
I did tell you to read it, but you don't listen. You got to argue. You got to argue. You know what I'm saying?
You didn't tell me to read it. I just happened to get it and read it, and then ask you, why didn't you make me read it? Why didn't you tell me to?
Because I can't make you do nothing. You got to discover it yourself. You're a Pisces. You're a Pisces. As a matter of fact, the dude you was having issues with was reading the goddamn book. So I told him, I know I told you. You don't listen. I told you. I said,
no,
listen.
You ain't telling me to read that book.
Oh my God.
We don't need to argue about it though.
You
because
right.
I'm right.
You right. But yeah. she threw that in, threw me all off. All right, let me get back on Vine. Never outshine your master. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, and in there, they give you strategies to use so that you can go on and position yourself to do what you need to do without making those above you feel threatened. You ain't really got to be concerned about the little ants next to you most of the time. You know what I'm saying? But what you have to do be concerned about is those above you. Now, for those of us that's doing movements, we have to learn to kind of conceal what we're doing because it's the large tree that attracts the axe. So we have to understand what we're doing. And you know what I'm saying? And we got to understand camouflage. And we got to understand how to do this thing that's been done over and over again because we keep on talking about some of the mighty trees that have fallen. We could call them off by name if we wanted to. We do it in a libation circle because along with Martin Luther King along with Malcolm X was also Martin Luther the King. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? So those mighty trees attract the axe, and we got to understand that. And then also that means that those individuals that's putting themselves out there, like Lady J said, they make a lot of sacrifices for us, and we got to stop letting them go out like suckers. This means that when we have individuals that are sacrificing for us, we need to return the sacrifice. If we see that if they have to leave here or go to jail or die, we can't allow what to happen to their families, what happened to, because the King children are out their goddamn mind, and Malcolm X family went through so much hell. So then you wonder why nobody speaking up? You know what I'm saying? Because we kind of we kind of wear a motherfucker on the t-shirt for a little while, because we even do it in the hood. I love little JoJo. He out, I'm gonna take care of his mama. And then 2 weeks later, the dude sleeping with JoJo's old girl and not even speaking to the mama. He don't even remember who she is when he run into her. So I'm just like, I'm sick of that shit. You know what I'm saying? All this. Hey, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
My pop, he watches these shows all the time, like people surviving in the wilderness. Like these are reality shows. What's that? Hello?
Go ahead, Papa.
Okay. And the piece is that, like, and you know what? And even jokingly, I gotta take back. We don't need. All right. Let me just put it like this. We need to pay attention to the survival hood of other cultures, because I feel like we would undoubtedly be so much stronger if our territory was out of the city and in the wilderness. I strongly feel that it takes a whole generation to be in the wilderness, to come out and be away from the noise, to really to come out of the hypnosis that we under, or the spell that we under.
Is it going to be? Is it going to be Wi-Fi out in the wilderness?
Yeah, I ain't talking about. Okay, listen, I'm not just talking about our blue.
I'm just asking, because this is the second time I heard this shit, and like I said, I ain't gonna be able to get my kids to go if it ain't no Wi-Fi out there. Is it gonna be Wi-Fi in this wilderness you talking about?
I mean, yeah, I didn't see the shows. I just sat there, and they be getting these big cloud machines out in Anchorage, Alaska.
I'm not going to no goddamn Alaska, man. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I mean, but shit, where we going?
Okay. So look. What does this have to do with the price of being taxed? What does it have to do with the proverb? The reason I bring this up,
okay,
is that right now
I ain't going to Anchorage. Go ahead.
You and I listen. This is the first time since my time that I feel like, from a socio-economic realm, we are a threat. The big farms, we are a threat to the cultural, not just the cultural norm, but the American cultural belief system, right? Because they got the people. Listen, the American struggling class is the majority.
That's
because
right.
The American struggling class is the people. The people who are pimping the system is the enemy.
Man.
The people who allow the system to be pimped and to pimp us, that's the enemy. The moment that you put a price tag on a lifespan, that is the enemy. And so what I'm saying to you, Hatim, is that while we're in the city, while we're trying to appeal to our people out here who really either A, don't understand, or B, don't care to, the reality is that if we put that much more effort in cultivating sustainability for our children right now, self-sustainability, so that we can leave them in the wilderness and we know that they're going to take care of what they need to take care of. Because, I mean, once again, I look at that movie Apocalypto, when all the parents and all the grown-ups was being taken as captures and the kids didn't know what to do but to follow them. And when they couldn't follow them no more, the little girl, the eldest of them, couldn't be no more than 12. It's like, don't worry, they're mine now. I'll take care of them. Do we have young people who are prepared to do that? Do we have young people that we would entrust to raise our young in our absence, out of survivalhood? And the reality is that in the city, on the social media, as long as we are high posting, we're a target.
I want to say that our ancestors always leave us the answers. And as Shaka was speaking, I was thinking of our ancestor, Whitney Houston, when she said the children are our future. That is why I once again put in my shameless plug that education is hiring. We're looking for people that look just like me and you. Go be a teacher. All right. Get with these children, because that is that's where it's at.
I will. G&J will be in touch with you so that we could get our goddamn commercial fee. Just letting you know. Last proverb, family. Excellent points. Silence is the sleep that nourishes wisdom. Damn. Let me go and hit that one. Silence is the sleep that nourishes wisdom.
Can I open it up?
Say it again, because you broke up a little bit. Say it one more time.
Silence is the sleep that nourishes wisdom.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Shaka.
You know, just yesterday, I met a family. Farrell knew these kids from school, and they invited them over to their house. Ain't seen him because he's homeschooled now, right? So I go over, I take him to this house, and in the garage they got it set up with a little speaker in there for little parties or whatever. And it was a man, real small man, who was sitting next to the speaker, and he was just going crazy. The music was playing, he was just going crazy. I just thought he was having a good time. Well, the thing is that he's deaf and dumb. He's deaf and he can't speak. But the vibration of music is what keeps him happy. Mm-hmm. And you would think that he's a simpleton just because he ain't communicating with you the way that you communicate with people. But, you know, he started communicating with me because I started singing and he felt the vibration through the speaker. And then he's looking and he sees the emotions in the people's eyes as I'm doing my thing. And he comes to me and puts his hand around my shoulder and just gives me that. And I'm like, wow, you know, and the people just told me, well, he can't talk and he can't hear, but he understands vibration. And so I think I'm getting a little lost in it compared to the proverb, but winding it back into the proverb. Of course, in the same sentence I told my son last night, I said, you with your mouth closed, because he's getting to the point where it's like, no. Everything that I say to him, it's like, well, he feels like he's got a rebuttal now. No, listen, son. Just pay attention to what's going on. And just like that man by the speaker, thing is that when you're silent, you're able to take in more. You're able to observe more. You're able to afford yourself time to work things out. You know how many times a day I'm in the middle of working things out in my head, and then my son is like, hey, Dad, you want to watch The Wiz? And then I just break all train of thought, right? It just breaks the whole equation. I might not even come back to that equation. And if I do, because I wasn't writing it down, I got to process it all over again from the beginning. So that's my piece.
Matthew?
I'm following the proverb.
It says silence is
Silence is the sleep that nourishes wisdom.
It nourishes what?
Wisdom.
Wisdom, right. So, yeah, it's like shut up and listen. Shit.
Very simple.
Pretty much. Shut up and listen. Because if you're busy talking all the time, you ain't taking nothing in because you're busy putting out too much.
Now, but what I'm saying is not be quiet, it's silence. Learning how to find that quiet moment. That moment that moment right there. You know that moment I'm talking about. That moment right.
I know exactly what moment you're talking about.
That moment.
For me, that moment happened when I was 15 years old. This girl was trying to sneak me from the basement to her room on the 3rd floor, and the mama was sprawled out by the front door. I'm talking about ninja skills. Ninja skills. There's levels to it.
Oh, goddamn. All right, family. On that one. on that one, we're going to end the show because obviously he's buffering right now. And, it's late. I'm tired of this shit. This motherfucker, I already know, my God. I can't even end with a joke. You just took my whole goddamn mood.
All right, I'm going to hang up now.
All right, G and J, I want to thank all of y'all. Make sure you like and share. You have any comments, post them up. Let us know what you think about the Proverbs.
That's how we ending it?
Yeah. I mean, silence. I want people silence, not just listening.
Well, I want to say good night.
Well, say good night.
I want to say that my message is always the same. We are in the midst of the Great Awakening. It is time to rise and shine. It's time to move on behalf of our youth. Do something each and every day in the name of the movement. Read a book, article, share it on Facebook. Donate to a cause, volunteer your time and or services. Schools are always looking to connect with community partners. Rec centers are always looking for people to come in and teach our kids some type of craft, horticulture, something. These places are strategically located in places where the youth come to you, right? And so just continue to use your social media networks to enlighten and inform. Participate politically, and who cares how you participate? You could march, you could boycott, you could protest, you could hopefully you could petition. But I again want to always stress the importance of boycotting, because I have this saying that when you keep the more change, if you want change, we got to learn how to keep more of it in our pocket. So participate politically. Go to these forums. Go to your school board meetings. Speak your piece, and advocate for our youth, because the children are our future.
Is it on me?
Mm-hmm.
Avita hung. She hung up for real. She hung up. She gone. But first of all, in the spirit of oneness, in the spirit of progress, in the spirit of us coming together and making things happen, just understand this. When I say come together, I mean you. And first, you alone. All right? Because, if we come into a collective setting and not know ourselves, we are the detriment that day. All right? So we need to take the time and learn more about the core of who we are before we try to come into any type of political spirit to protest. Because here's the piece. A lot of y'all are already great protesters on social media, but y'all call it trolling. So the piece is that if we did it together, then people wouldn't see us as trolls. Because when we move together and we are protesting whatever it is that needs to be addressed, there's power in numbers. And my main message for today is to establish real alliance. Not because a people look like you, because that's how we get out here and get killed, because somebody looked like us. And we thought they was made like us, and they ain't. The piece is that we got to find a real alliance that is really moving for the same things that we are. I'm Shaka.
All right, family, I want to thank y'all for joining us, and thank you for taking the time to be part of the Congregation of Mighty. Of course, you are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Media. Of course, this is a Heart of a Simple production, and right now we just finished another tribal quote. We are on day 42, so this means it's the second time we went through the book, and it's a Heart of a Simple production. And You know we strive to blow up your old paradigms, and I hope we blew some up tonight. Peace out, fam.